Yes, I know. August 1st. You're going away. All right. And we're live. Who would like to give a recap?
So we started off. I believe we were heading towards the. We shook off the creatures or that were chasing us from Ironside, and I don't believe we made it to the Handsome Mansion yet, or did we?
No, we were still headed there.
Yeah. So we were still
Okay, yeah.
we were still on our way to go back to the Handsome Mansion to try to get the weapons from Salshock's lair, figure out what to do with Petrified Tacitus, hopefully bring him along and get Charles and go.
We got back to the Hanson Mansion. We realized we had never put the spear together. So we started to try to put the spear together, and then we discovered that we have none of the skills needed to attach a spearhead to a spear shaft. So we were standing around figuring out what to do about that when I think it was Marthal, somehow a dark spot on the spear got onto one of our hands and began to expand and shoot around, attacking us all.
So Marthal noticed the dark spear, a spot on the spear, and so he touched it, noticing that it was like the corruption, and that's when it stuck to his hand and started coming out.
Right, and then at some point, Colmar decided to he tried to take the blob and teleport down into the portal in the basement, but he only took part of it with him, and he basically escaped on his own into the portal in the basement. So we had to continue fighting the blob. Meanwhile, we knew that the aliens were just getting closer and closer to the Handsome Mansion and were going to attack. Charles was at that point off packing a bag because we were going to take him with us, realizing that he would only die if we left him here. The aliens did reach the mansion and began to attack. The kyber crystals in the mantle of the mansion all shattered. We weren't sure what that did to Bob, but nothing good. Probably the mansion is unraveling as a result of the magic of those crystals being broken. We started to make our way to the basement, only to discover that all of the elementals that had been bound into the house were loose and running amok. And we had to dodge through all of them to get to the portal in the basement where we knew that Colmar had gone. As we did that, the aliens were breaking in and began busting through. So most of us made it across the basement floor. Some people, I don't remember exactly who took damage, but Charles rolled very poorly. And so Charles wound up slipping and was on the floor and about to be savaged by aliens and elementals. So his best friend, dare I say lover, Marthal, poked his head out of the portal and blasted him with a chaos bolt to kill him and end his suffering. But he failed to kill him. He only wounded him as the aliens dove onto him and savagely tore into him from every direction. There was something about him being his body being penetrated by from every angle.
Were Martha not so upset like he would have been longing. But the inky black. So one of the key details is the inky blackness that came out of the spear came out in the form of Petrie. So this might be the final time that Petrie dies.
And that also triggered that last thing that Martha did triggered wild magic or something, and some of us are frightened of Martha. I know Komar is.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, so am I. Yeah.
I've forgotten that.
And that wild magic, because it was worded poorly, doesn't have an expiration date.
So and so we sit in Baba's lair, portal closed. Marthau, you guys are afraid of Marthau, and he still has this spear attached with inky tendrils.
Additionally, so the reason that all the Kyber shards shattered was because when the Handsome Mansion was designed, a lot of the Kyber crystals and dragon shards were actually energized to create a kind of warding that would prevent incursion. And each of you have like a password or something that you have that allows you to enter and exit. And the aliens, the creatures, weren't able to do much because of that. And that's when the Dark Petrie came, and he caused all of the dragon shards to overload and be destroyed, which allowed them to get entry, as well as dispelling Baba. And that also includes the energy within the what is it? That thing that allows you to teleport back and forth.
The Hearthstone.
The Hearthstone, yeah. It does have one last charge though. And then after that it will probably be useless. So you guys can get back to the Eldine Reaches with it. But once that happens, you'll no longer be able to return via that route. So you guys are in this small-ish rocky lair. Much of it looks like a natural cave, but there are sections of worked stone, specifically the floor, some of the walls, but a lot of it seems to have been melded with the natural sort of features of this cave. You do notice within this room that there are a couple of doors, and you guys remember vaguely the layout for those of you who actually came in last time and fought against the kobolds that were trapped in the lair. You also know that because of cave-ins that were triggered upon Baba's death, which were fail-safes to keep what few treasures that he had and that there is no physical exit without being able to dig through tons of stone and not even knowing how far underground you are. There is no natural light within this room, and now that the portal has closed, the room is really bathed in darkness, unless anybody lights a torch or uses a light cantrip or something like that. You do hear the sound of dripping water, which does remind you that there is a kind of underground pool not too far within that a couple of you had the unfortunate circumstances of being dunked in, specifically Elmorn and Egg.
Is the water safe to drink?
Nobody's tried it. You're certainly welcome to go and check it out if you want.
Well, I would suggest that we get some rest, and if the water is potable, that we make sure we all have sufficient water.
Yeah. rest. I could do that.
Better here than in the Eldine Reaches.
Yeah, I don't have
Dare I
time.
say we should probably set a guard, although hopefully those creatures won't tunnel down to us wherever we are. You can't rule it out.
Was that not a sort of portal to another place? What is this place exactly?
I don't remember. This was a place that the portal appeared one day in the basement. And we had to deal with Papa, which unfortunately he's gone, which I never thought I would say, as is Charles. But where this place actually is, I cannot say, whether it's a pocket dimension or whether it's just another place underground. Your guess is as good as mine. We could be 100 feet below the mansion or 10 feet away from it.
Well, assuming we're still on the material plane, I assume Umberos will be able to sense the corruption in the spear. So if we're near enough to the manor, the mansion, it's possible that those creatures will come after us. But for now, let's be optimistic and assume that they won't.
Regardless, it'll at least take them some time. It'll afford us a long rest.
So Bob is going to go check out the pool.
All right. So you do go through a couple of doors, and then one of them actually leads to a dead drop. And there is just barely a ledge next to the door. And down below, probably about, I can't remember if it was 30 or 60 feet, there's the sound of dripping water.
So I will walk to the edge of the very small ledge and then walk over the side and down and scoop up a little bit of water and walk back up.
Do you have the spider climbing?
I have the monk ability to run up and down vertical surfaces.
I mean, you have the dash, don't you?
It doesn't say dash. It just says I can. I would have to, certainly to move 60 feet, I would have to dash in addition to my move action.
Right. You have to make sure that you're on solid ground by the end of your turn, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It doesn't actually say, but I assume that's what they were going for. So, but if it's, is it 60 feet down, like straight down?
Yeah, basically. But
Okay.
I mean, I mean, that's not going to be a hard climb for you as a monk of that level. So even if your technical ability wouldn't do it, your ability to use acrobatics or athletics to climb up and down, that would be sufficient. You do notice as you make the trip to this place, you notice a lot of broken pottery, lots of what appear to be desiccated insects, mostly centipedes and spiders, as well as a number of things that look to have been traps, but they were already triggered. And so you're able to grab whatever amount of water you want. If you have a water skin, you can easily fill the water skin.
Yeah, I was just going to go down and like get essentially just a small amount of it, like a vial, so that I could figure out if it's drinkable or not.
Okay. Do you have an herbalism kit?
I don't think I do. Let me see. No. But I did recently drink or gave someone a giant strength potion. They got drank.
Oh, I wasn't talking about for the test tube. I was talking about to test the water.
Oh, no, I don't have anything like that. I was just going to take a little bit, make sure it's not like brown, and then suck it back.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, this is what's the water? It's like a small pool, or like a what's it look like again?
Well, it's a kind of a ravine almost. Like it like you think. Have you guys seen The Descent?
No.
So it's like, so you got the door on this side, and across the cabin you have another door, and there's like this long kind of jagged layer of wall that goes up a little bit and down a bit. You don't know how deep the water actually is, but so you would need to actually go into it to determine that, or drop something into it, like a weighted rope or something.
I assume I'm just looking at it with my, like I couldn't even figure out when I scoop it up. I don't even assume I could figure out how clean or dirty it was looking at it because I'm only using my dark vision. So I can always see in black and white anyway.
Yeah,
so I'm sure it's just like a sheet to me looking at it.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to get
acid for all I know.
Right. But gathering it doesn't burn. So
Right.
there's that. But yeah,
that's
you would
when
need
the froghemoth emerges from the water.
It's that weird whirling fucking blades creature that we fought underneath Drome, Grey Wall or whatever. Is it moving water or is it, placid? Was it placid?
I mean, the water's pretty still. There are the occasional ripples, but those are drops from, you would think, stalactites.
Okay.
It's all like industrial runoff water. We're actually in Zalargo. All the gnomes, toxic chemicals pour down here.
I mean, how far, big did you say it was?
Lengthwise, it's beyond the reach of your dark vision.
Okay.
But to the other side, it's about a 30-foot gap.
We don't see any bodies in here. In the water.
No.
Okay.
Oh, I have 3 water skins. So, but I will go back to the group before testing the water in case it makes me black out.
Well, I mean, if it is indeed poisonous, then I can assist you with that. But only once.
So, has anybody cast light or lit a torch or anything?
I got dark. I'm fine.
Martha doesn't. So what Martha would do is he would turn over. Actually, he wouldn't do anything. He just wants to lay in the dark right now. He can go for some brooding.
The darkness is him now. He is one with it.
Yeah, so he's not going to make any effort to.
He has stared into the darkness and it has stared back at him.
And not for the first time. I think halflings also do not lack dark vision, so
Yeah.
Kip, how are you doing?
Yeah. So Kip would have he would have like opened up his saddlebag and pulled out a torch and lit it up. And as he did, Sonny like could then see Marthal and starts bolting while Kip's on it, and Kip's like, "God damn it, stupid bear!" And they start running around a corner, and then you hear down the cave there, just like whacking on the bear, and and Kip yelling, "Damn, you're too stupid to live, and you're too dumb to die." And the bear's like, "Ooh!"
Oh my god!
He just chokes the bear to death. I will yell, "Don't run in the direction of the pool. There's a steep drop."
Do bears have dark vision?
I don't think so.
But Kip has a torch, unless he dropped it.
Oh yeah, there's the torch. Yeah,
He's probably
so
using it to hit Sonny.
Yeah, lighting him on fire.
singed fur whenever he comes back.
Yeah, you stop hearing them, and I'm gonna use the rest of this time to like hunt for mushrooms and stuff. I want to make some more mushroom juice. So
I just like watch them run off, and I'm like, I would stop this, but I believe the bear would be happier if it had died. I'm not usually one to feel sorry for a creature, but I kind of do.
So, I imagine eventually the torch stops being so erratic while Kip is beginning to search for mushrooms.
yeah,
And I'll go over to Marthal, actually, and say, what's the matter with you now? Why the face like a slapped ass?
Charles is gone. He was torn apart alive by those creatures.
Well,
And
he
we-
died so that we may live. Yes? We survive, I'll show you a good time.
I don't know. I think good times are at an end.
I'll put a hand on your shoulder. It's like, you've not tried me yet. Walk away. Like tail up your face.
So, Bob, in the dim lighting cast by Kip's torch as he's walking about to look for mushrooms, you are able to get a good glimpse of the water in your vial, and it does seem relatively clear. There's a couple of particulate things floating in it, but nothing that seems anything but innocuous.
It's nothing but, tadpoles that'll get you alive from the inside.
So I will. I'm going to take a taste from the vial.
We're keen to your games, you piece of shit.
There's a slight metallic taste to it, but otherwise it seems fine. You don't get any immediate pain from drinking it. No stomach cramping.
It seems to be clean enough. If anyone lacks water, now would be the time to get it. It's hard to say that we're going to come upon a safe, unpolluted pool in the Eldine reaches.
Should be strong in minerals, this water, I suppose.
That it is.
Meanwhile, Kip, give me a survival check to see if you find mushrooms.
okay. Where the hell is that? God damn. Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, cool. Nat 20.
All right. So it's the room that you're in. You don't find anything, nor several of the other rooms. But as you come to the room that ends in the steep drop, you use your torch to kind of look along the walls, and on the walls, somewhat close to the water line, you notice what appear to be a couple of mushrooms and other fungi growing along the wall. Mold mostly, but a couple of what seem like sprouts that may be mushrooms.
Yeah, I'm not really looking for like edible mushrooms. I'm sort of looking for the toxic kind, which I put in my brew. So yeah, the moldy bacteria ones, I'm all for.
All right, so how do you plan to gather those?
So they're down the ledge, are they?
Yeah.
Okay. I give Sonny the dirty look, and I'm like, now you do that trick I taught you. And Sonny says, ooh. And
I don't know why, but it like whenever Sonny makes it sound, a little piece of me like feels like it's about to die. It is the most depressing bear sound.
I'm pretty sure that's
that
a
was-
bear noise, isn't it? Like
That was the
I'm
bear.
playing Sonny right.
That was the bear responding with, "You never taught me any tricks."
And do I have to cast that the spell
What's
to the like the great amount spell for this to work? Because I'm just gonna fly down there.
yeah, but you don't have any 4th level spell slots right now
Oh,
because
don't I?
you just got them, so you'd need to
Oh,
rest.
okay. Well,
So he just pushes Sonny over the edge and says, "Fly!"
Shit. Let's try tomorrow.
that doesn't work.
Oh my God.
And the water bears us down on the water. Splash
So
them.
how big is the ledge? Like, do I have to climb down?
Oh, there's no ledge. It's like a near sheer drop the minute that you open the door.
Oh. Well,
The bear drowns in the drinking water.
yeah. I guess I go over to I guess I go back to the party, and I see like the water which they've all collected. And I'm like, now you went down there to go get some water, yeah, Bob? You sneaky sneak.
I did. I didn't think I was sneaking when I did it, but I went down.
Yeah, well, I need you to go back down there. There's some things you need to collect for me.
Very well, and I will get up.
And
Do you have a water skin?
it's not water I need.
Well, fine. What do you need?
There's
not
some
much down there.
mushrooms. There's some mushrooms down there. I'll point them out. You'll be fine.
Omerta
I'll
lifts
share
up the
some.
water. Lifts up the water skin. Do be a dear.
I'll take his water skin.
And I bring Sonny and myself to the edge, and I'm like, all right, they're down there, just over there in the corner.
And I'm gonna look. I assume I'm just looking at like half rotted mushrooms, since he's picking the worst of the worst because they're the most deadly.
Yeah.
So it depends. It depends. With your dark vision, you wouldn't be able to see them. You would need the torch.
Right. I assume
And-
he's carrying the torch and is sort of pointed in a direction.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to have seen them before with the
Since
torch.
you're both small creatures, yeah, you could probably both fit in the door, and he would be able to kind of maneuver the torch so it's not burning your face off and point it out. So yeah, with the light of the torch, you would be able to see some of the slime and fungus that he's pointing out, which is within like a foot of the water line. And it's not it's not all along the water line. It's in like patches on either side that are that are kind of random. None are right below the door though. They're either on the other side or a little down the ways.
Yeah, I just keep pointing. I'm like, and that one over there, and yeah, one of them. And you're just like looking up.
Well, this will take me a little bit of time, but I will bring them back to you.
Good. I'll go make us a stew.
So I'm obviously gonna have to make like trips to do this or find places to like grab onto for when my movement ends, but I'm only gonna pick like the better clean ones, not the mucky, filthy ones that he pointed out.
So how are you going to gather them? Are you just gonna like pick the sprouts, or are you gonna try and scrape off some of the mold? Or
Well, I'm not going for the incredibly moldy ones he actually wants. I'm working on the theory that I'm going to tell him I rinse them off in the water, and he's not going to really know the difference because he was like several feet away from them when he was looking at them anyway. So the ones that look like rancid and terrible, I'm just leaving. But yeah, I'm just going to pick sprouts out.
are you proficient with nature?
I doubt it. No, nor survival.
Okay. So give me a nature check.
Not natural 20.
Okay. Actually, do you have the torch with you? If you're gathering all this?
I assume I would. I would want to see what I was doing, but I didn't specifically think to ask for it.
Okay. So then you're carrying a torch. You have one hand free to kind of climb the walls, and then how are you going to gather the mushrooms?
I must have pockets.
Right, but
My robe.
how would you remain on the wall while you're doing it?
Well, I can think of a combination of ways. One is to basically go for the mushrooms that are close to like some place where I could rest my foot, and then use acrobatics to try to pick at the mushrooms while balancing on a rock. Otherwise, it would have to be. You're right. I might have to like drop the torch so that I can hold a rock and pick with the other hand. So, I probably would have thought the torch was a good idea at first, and then realized that I don't want to hold the torch in my mouth.
Yeah, that's not
So
great.
just
Look.
drop the torch into the water below because I don't care.
Okay, so if you are not using the torch, you don't need to make any kind of checks to maintain your hold on the wall and everything. You'd be able to do that and gather the mushrooms and fungus, but your nature check would be at disadvantage because of your limited sight.
And 11.
Okay. So you do the best that you can, trying to pick good ones, though it is hard to tell in the dark. And are you putting them in anything?
I assume I would just be storing them in a pocket of my robes.
Okay. And then you're also gathering water for Omerta?
Yep.
Okay. So, you are able to gather probably like a good handful of it. There are some like sprouts, not exactly mushroom caps or anything like that, but fruiting bodies, I guess you could call them. and you also got some of the sludge, mold like sludge, or sludge like mold, in there as well.
So I would go back then.
Okay.
Yeah, Kip would have like pulled out like some camping gear from his pack and sort of like made up a fire and put a pot on and like started to collect all the water and put it in the pot, and now he's just waiting for the mushrooms.
All
So
right.
I'll come back and empty my pocket. I would ask if you had anything you want me to put them in, or just drop them in the pot, or what.
Yeah, just put him in the pot.
Even better. So he would put them in the pot so that Kip doesn't even get to see which ones he selected.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would, if necessary, I'm willing to take pains to like stealth them all into the pot before he could see them.
I don't think that's
I don't
necessary.
think I would. Yeah, I wouldn't really be looking.
And I don't care if he gets some of the sludge. He wanted it. That is specifically what he wanted anyway.
That's right. Yeah. And everyone's going to be eating it, so.
And I'll
Well, at
give
least I
Omerta
am.
back his water skin. Yeah, I have 8 days worth of dry rations, although I assume that's 8 days worth for a gnome. It's like 6 berries.
All right. What's everybody else doing?
Omerta's probably restless until he gets tired.
I think at this point, Bob is probably already pretty tired. If only from all the bouncing around in the carriage for 2 hours on the way back to the mansion.
I imagine Martha was just gonna like pass out on his back.
What's Colmar doing?
Resting and staying away from Martha since I'm frightened of him.
Bob is going to pay attention to the smoke from the torch and the campfire, figure out where it's going.
Yeah, it's actually filling the room pretty quickly.
Oh, not going anywhere then.
Yeah. Actually, what would you have used to start the fire?
Probably a tinderbox, yeah.
Okay, a tinderbox doesn't have actual like wood for a fire.
Oh yeah, you're right. Shit.
No kindling.
It's got kindling, but it doesn't have the actual wood.
The fuel for the fire.
Right.
Yeah. Fuck.
How many torches do you have?
One less now.
I've got a saddlebag. Like I've got a bag of holding. I think I'd like hoard them. You know, I just hoard everything. So
Well,
it
but
says
how
I've-
many?
I says-
how
it
many
says
do
I've
you
got
have?
one. It says I have one. So
Okay, so
Yeah.
All have torches.
you have one that you've used. So what would you be using for firewood then?
Oh my god. Oh, I got priest vestments. I don't wear them, so I'll just put them in the fire. There you go.
Okay, so that's good for a fire for about 5 seconds.
Are you?
I got I guess Sunny.
Wow. Well, I mean, sufficient amount of bear fat when harvested, well, could create quite a long-lived fire. I don't know if it would be.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really got much.
Give me a survival check.
Okay, thank you. Oh shit. Fuck. Hopefully this is good. Yeah. Okay. 17. Cool.
All right. So many of the doors are actually made of wood.
Oh,
And then there's also
There might be some old kobold weapons with wood hafts.
yeah, there are desiccated kobold bodies strewn about. Not a lot of them, but sparsely place to place. Some of them with familiar wounds for those that previously were in this place. So some of them do have some wooden weapons that would be useful for fire. And there is quite a bit of those desiccated insect bodies and a significant amount of spider silk, which seems to have been used in several of the traps.
okay. All right, cool. I just walk around gathering all that, ripping doors off hinges, and
You mean you're not having Sonny rip doors off hinges for you?
he would be like he'd be carting me around to the doors, and then I would be if he couldn't headbutt it off or whatever, I would be doing the ripping.
All right, so give me athletics checks to see if you can rip those doors down.
All right, well, I'm a big buff halfling. This shouldn't be too hard, hopefully. Yeah, we're good. These are athletics, yeah.
I think Omerta might occasionally mess with him and use thaumaturgy to dim the lights of his torch way down. So it's basically like candlelight.
I just keep on looking at Sonny and be like, "What are you doing?"
And Bob would add, given that the smoke from the torch isn't dissipating, wouldn't a campfire simply build up even more smoke?
Yes, this is probably not the best idea.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. The fumes will be okay.
Martha's like laying down and he hears this, and he's like, he like turns over. Do I see any rocks nearby?
Yeah, you could probably grab like they're like probably what would be like lemon sized rocks, probably as big as they get.
So I'm gonna grab a lemon shaped rock, and I'll I imagine just lazily grabbing it, and then I'll pull out my chalk, my alabaster. Is it? No, it's the yellow chalk. Yeah, so I'll pull out my yellow chalk and draw a circle on this rock, and it begins to illuminate, and then I just throw the rock down towards where everybody's arguing. And then like lay back down.
Okay.
There you go. No fumes. Light.
I
So
think he actually wants to cook something, though. Not that it's not appreciated.
Whatever.
So, Kip, with your athletics, you were able to get one of the doors down pretty easy, and even splinter it into usable firewood.
Cool. Yeah, I can do that. Like, these fumes ain't hurt nobody. You'll be all fine.
I believe I must insist.
I just remember this one time what was it? It must have been maybe the Drekken campaign. One of those ones. I was in a cave and we made a fire. Anyways, there was this guy, and he must have took a javelin in the spine, and we used him as a coat rack, and it all worked out fine. So don't worry.
Yes, but you walked into that cave. So there was an exit. There was an exit for the smoke to leave the cave.
Yeah, something like that.
See, the problem here is we have no such exits. The smoke will stay in the cave and build up.
Well, I'm just a huffling standing in front of you asking you to shut the hell up. And I just I just keep on adding shit to the fire.
Meanwhile, Colmar doesn't care because he doesn't breathe.
So I'm gonna place one of my seals on Kip here, and then I'm gonna say, I suggest you put the fire out.
So wait a minute.
Sleep.
Omerta, what does it look like when you place a
Nobody
seal
sees it.
on
Nobody
someone?
sees it. There might be a glint in my eye whenever it happens.
Okay.
But yeah, the seals are invisible to anybody but me. So to me, there's just like this. I am imagining like a pentagram on his forehead, just kind of slowly spinning, and then I say, I suggest you put the fire out and go to sleep. And then I'm casting suggestion on him.
I'll let it ride. Yeah. So yeah, I won't contest it. I'll just let you go.
All right, I put the seal on you and make sure you had disadvantage on the roll. So
you win. Fine, I will. And I just start poking the fire and put it out. I get some holy water actually out of one of the saddlebags and just start pouring it on it.
Good use for holy water.
yeah, why not?
Bob will go to like a really far part of the cave system and then take out his bongo drums and do like a funeral bongo.
That was gonna kill us.
I don't know why, but when you said funeral bongo, I pictured the Beetlejuice song. These are day, these are day, these are day.
I believe the song is called Deo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that one's suitably appropriate, I think, for Charles.
Harry Belafonte.
So all you hear is, I mean, I don't know how big this cave system is, but presumably there's a bit of an echo to it.
Built-in reverb.
So you begin to hear the sound of Bob singing and playing the bongos. Dale, Dale.
There you go.
So do we have? So there's some cobalt skeletons around. You're telling me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go over to one and animate one.
Okay. What does it look like as you animate it?
All the bones begin to swirl around and then form together what is close to a cobalt. I'm sure there's a couple pieces that are probably in incorrect spots. And it stands there and just follows me back, and I sit back down, and it just stands watch over me.
Now, is this with your animate minion, or are you actually casting animate dead?
Animate dead.
Okay.
Because with minion, it has to be 24 hours, and this has been longer than that.
Wait, for what? What do you mean it has to be 24 hours? Oh, so it's got to have been dead for only 24 hours, right? Okay.
Unless time works differently in these caverns.
But
If I had the energy, I'd have done that myself. Perhaps tomorrow.
Doesn't animate dead for necromancer work different? I want to say
The creature gets its maximum hit points are higher by an amount equal to his wizard level, so 10. And I think it gets its proficiency bonus to hit. Or I might be wrong about that. I should look it up.
I'm just going by the stats.
Okay. I'm seeing it now because I thought you get to. I know about the other thing, but I thought that you could animate more than one creature per casting, but it's you just assume control over more than one per casting.
Yeah, you can target one additional corpse, so you can have two of those.
Well, when you cast a spell with 4th level or higher, you animate or reassert control over 2 additional undead creatures. So you could animate 3 with the cost of a 4th level spell slot.
Well, he gets to make an additional one with his Undead Thralls ability. When you cast Animate Dead, you can target one additional corpse or pile of bones.
That's right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So I can have more than one.
Mm-hmm.
You can have 2. Or if you use a 4th level spell slot.
Yeah, and there's plenty of kobolds. Give me investigation check to see how many you can find.
Okay.
I'll help him.
All
And
right,
then
so
you can rest and use a 5th level spell slot and get 6 more.
So you have advantage since Omerta has volunteered to help you.
Helping me out. 27.
Oh wow. Yeah, you can find 8 total corpses that are in good enough condition to animate.
I'll go with 3 for right now.
All right. So you have 3 kobold skeletons. Each of them seeming to have a tiny pinprick of light shining through their eye sockets that look around as if the pupils of eyes that are no longer there. All right. Anything else anybody's doing before you guys get your rest in?
Shall we set up watches?
What's the point?
Martha the Nihilist.
It's unlikely, but something may come. You, however, I would suggest you just rest.
The darkness will consume us, whether we watch for it or not.
Oh, of that I can guarantee.
But I will stand first watch.
Oh, will you now, you sneaky sneak?
Okay, apparently,
On us,
I take it back. Kip will stand first watch.
yeah.
He's been
That's
commanded to go to sleep, so or suggested.
He says that in his sleep.
even sleeping is an ornery bastard.
Even sleeping, he gives me reason to want to leave him behind.
He's like, sneaky bastard. Can't trust him. Come here, Sonny. I'm gonna hit you.
I assume he just beats on Sonny and he's sleeping on top.
And Sonny is just so despondent. He just takes it and he's like, "Whoa." Oh my god.
It's a great character, guys. I love it. You guys know exactly what he does.
So I'll take first watch.
All right. So you guys who are sleeping, make yourselves as comfortable as possible. It's pretty hard rock the floor if you don't have a bedroll. But considering the circumstances, you still find ways of getting to sleep. So Ivar, or Bob, rather, roll me a d12.
Where are my d12s? 1.
Okay. Your watch passes by pretty mundanely. You hear the frequent drip off the stalactites into the still waters back in that cavern. But other than that, it's uneventful.
Who wanted to go second?
Just wake somebody up.
Yeah,
Uh,
go for
I would wake up Colmar then. I don't want to deal with Kip.
Does Colmar?
Colmar doesn't even need to sleep, I don't think.
Yeah, how
Colmar
about
just
go?
sitting there pretending to sleep during my watch.
With his weird head and pointed nipples.
He's like too far in the joke to just not say anything.
He uses that weird proboscis, like.
The little mouth comes out on like the long whistle at the end.
Yeah.
All right, so Bob goes
So then
over.
you take watch, I suppose, since you don't sleep anyway.
Oh, very well.
All right, Colmar, roll me d12.
8.
All right. You think you hear kind of a rock falling over down one of the corridors. You hear the echo of it, but that's the only thing that you notice during your watch.
Okay. I'll go wake up Omerta.
My turn then.
All right, Omerta, roll me a d12.
And then you watch as Colmar just goes over and sits down and stays awake.
Staring at you.
Got a 1.
All right. You think you feel like a kind of rumble in the ground, and you see it kind of shake some dust from the ceiling, but after a moment it subsides and nothing else happens.
Are we under an elatrix or the lightning rail? We're in the subway.
If you are, it's running at a pretty odd hour, pretty late hour.
I mean, why does it need to stop? Trains run for a real fucking long time.
Fair enough.
I mean, I'm probably somewhat familiar with the lightning rail. I've probably come across it, maybe even rode it a little bit, but okay. I mean, what kind of rumbling? Does it feel like stampeding rumble or like a steady?
Give me a nature check.
A nature? I could do survival for you.
Nature.
All right, whatever. 13.
It just seemed like kind of a steady rumble. Well, not really a steady rumble. It seemed to grow to a crescendo and then dissipate. But it didn't get very big. Like it wasn't enough to disturb anybody from their sleep.
Okay.
In fact, had you not just been so bored just sitting in the dark, you might not have even noticed it yourself.
I mean, I'm not likely to sit still. I'm fairly easily bored, so I would likely move about, pace down, or around the party, whatever, open areas. Maybe even not necessarily take anything, but look through people's stuff.
So right, because of that boredom,
Yeah.
that would be something that would kind of cut through for you.
That was a very short moment of excitement that died away all too quickly. Darn. All right.
All right. So what do you do at the end of your watch?
Do we have more people? Do we have longer still?
Each watch is about 2 hours, right? So
Yeah.
it would be 4 people to set watch for an entire night if you cared to do that.
And I went first, and Colmar woke you up.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not waking up Kip.
I'm not. No.
Either go to Kip or to Marthal.
Martha's human, right?
Yeah.
Or I mean,
I go back to Colmar.
Does Colmar are you noticeably awake? Like, what are you doing during this time?
I'm meditating, but I don't
Juggling.
need to.
So what does it look like as you're meditating, and what are your skeletons doing during this time?
They're standing watch. They're keeping an eye on Martha since I'm frightened of it.
That's true. Has that worn off at all? Or is that shouldn't they be at the far end of the cave where I was playing the bongos?
Yeah, it hasn't worn off. This whatever effect this is, it's a pretty strong effect.
Gotta be able to repeat this save at some point.
Yeah, but just not yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go to Colmar, and does this body of yours gonna take another watch?
I
Yeah,
guess I can.
Very well.
All right, so Colmar, roll me another d12.
6.
All right. So pretty uneventful. Mostly just hearing the drops of water every now and then from the stalactites.
Okay.
You do think you hear whispers at several points.
Are these like the normal whispers I usually hear in my mind, or like something different?
It's a bit different.
Okay.
Not quite like the ones that you hear in your mind.
All right. Well, I will listen to see if I can understand what they're saying.
Give me a perception check.
Oh, God. Let's see here. Very good. Receiving it. Perception. Big money. Oh, yeah. 1.
To you, it just sounds like. They're not all coming from the same direction. It shifts.
At least they're not telling you, you should kill them all. Kill them all before they wake up.
Okay. So once we've completed our long rest, I'll wake everybody up.
Okay. How do you wake them up?
I just wake up Omerta, let him know that our 8 hours is up. Because I'm not going over near Martha, and I'm not going to wake up Kip. And tell Omerta that I've heard whispers. Could not discern that they were different from the usual whispers I hear in my mind.
Can't hear you, Tony.
You couldn't tell what they were saying.
No,
Shame.
but we probably shouldn't linger here.
Well, whispers have always been a friend to me, but perhaps if it unsettles you, we can leave. Let us wake up the others then.
Yes, I will remain here.
Do I hear any whispers?
No.
All right, so I'm gonna use thaumaturgy and raise my voice a little bit. All right, you ingrates, time to wake up. Is the rock still lit? How long does that last?
It was just the light spell, so.
So that was only an hour. Okay. That's fine. That's why I didn't wake you guys.
So it's dark, but Bob, with his dark vision, crawls out from under his blanket naked and just starts doing calisthenics.
Naked gnome calisthenics.
Back to the old routine now that you know who I am.
Fine, we are up.
Who's affected by the fear effect?
I honestly think it was Sunny. I don't think it was Kip. I think Kip had a high enough save.
I think
Right.
Omerta failed.
All right.
I'm sure I made it.
So Sunny, Colmar, and Omerta, go ahead and make a wisdom save against Martha's save DC. What is that?
18.
Good grief.
Holy shit.
No, not even close.
My bear's dumb as shit.
Now, based on sleeping arrangements, I imagine that Sunny and Kip are close enough, but probably not anyone else. So Sunny would get your aura.
Yeah, but he still failed. He's a fucking dumb bear.
It wouldn't have helped me either. Not unless it was a +9.
No, it's a +3 now. So.
Yeah. Is Marthal still holding that fucking spear?
Well, the spear is connected to him. He's not holding it. There's the inky gunk that is attached to the spear, which is attached to his hand. So whether he is holding it or the spear is holding him is not clear.
Oh yeah, something I forgot is I did. My character believe that there might still be artisans in Varna in the Eldine Reaches that could help us recraft the spear. And then we determined that Varna is like really, really far away from where we are.
Yep.
We also never
where we will
actually
end up.
completed. We never actually completed the ritual to enchant all of the Biesk weapons.
Nope.
Yeah,
So we may want to do that at some point.
we still have no fucking clue what to do. So
Well, but we can now at least guess that the death of Charles is the morning that was being referenced.
The dark morning.
So we saw the Biesk weapons affecting something last session, but I can't remember what exactly. Was it the weird Petrie that came through?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we use one of these Biesk weapons to sort of shave off the shadowy goop from Marthal? Detach it from him?
Do you have any of the weapons with you?
I have the rapier.
Okay.
Yeah, we each
I
took
think
a
everybody took something.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I was just making sure because I know Kip stored all of them in his saddle bag of holding.
Yeah, like a little
except
little
for
knife or
those
something,
ones.
dagger, and
Yeah.
shave.
You may want to use one of the spare weapons, though.
Yeah.
In case it destroys it.
So yeah, you're welcome to give it a shot.
I'm glad you think so. Let me deal with my which spells I need to prepare right quick. But yeah, I'll recommend that, and if I'm the only person who's got the dexterity to do so, I will give it a shot. But oh, I did have that written down. Yeah. So by the way, whenever you were playing your bongos, I probably would have come up with you and started playing like a little ocarina.
Now I don't know why, but I'm mixing the Deo with the Green Ranger. Do, 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 do. That's a weird image. All right, so Omerta suggests trying to cut away at the inky blackness with Biesk weapons. How does everybody else respond to that? Does anybody reply?
Fair. That is a fair and good idea. At least it's worth the attempt. Although it may work even better if we could just complete whatever that ritual was Tacitus told us about.
Well, if we have any idea how to do that, then let's do it.
Well, I think we know all of the special ingredients, with the only hard one left, no pun intended, being the essence of Kip.
That is easy. We can just take it from him.
Well, and I guess I don't necessarily know how we contribute the sacrifice made by one who would awaken the dark morning. I imagine it was the sacrifice Charles made. But perhaps it is simply enough that the sacrifice has been made. And we don't need to contribute anything physically to the ritual in that regard.
Well, perhaps we will be lucky, and Kip's willingness to give of his essence will be enough as well.
I haven't seen my essence in a good 100 years.
Yes, but would you be willing to give it up if you had?
I don't think it's possible.
Perhaps if we begin the ritual, the essence will simply come from him automatically, or be drained from him, hopefully without our having to participate in any way.
That's what Sunny is for.
Colmar, give me an Arcana check at advantage.
Omerta was definitely giggling.
Arcana. 20, not natural.
All right, email coming your way.
I'm all right at Arcana. I have proficiency. I don't know if that matters. I also got a 20.
This is not something within your purview of knowledge.
Alrighty, just checking.
Kip would like have all the mushrooms and start like pestling them down in the mortar and pestle, trying to turn them into like a liquid.
So is Marthal actually getting up? Just laying in his bedroll, depressed.
Martha will get up. I mean, he's standing. So he slowly shuffles to his feet. And he grabs whatever rock is near him and he draws a circle on it. As like the light shines and his face is visible, you notice that it looks haggard, like it's just years of wear just fell upon it overnight.
And he notices as the light flares, like immediately in front of him, bent over, touching his toes, butt facing you, is a naked old gnome. Sack just dangling. Then he starts jumping jacks.
He'll just turn away.
All right, sent Peter. So Bob is doing naked jumping jacks.
Yep.
Hashtag Pornhub.
Well, all right. So if Bob's doing all right, able to do jumping jacks, and I'm going to assume he wasn't poisoned by his water overnight, then I'm not going to prepare lesser restoration.
And then wait, Kip, what are you doing with the mushrooms and fungus?
Mortar and pestling them down into like a liquid.
Do you have a mortar and pestle?
If I do. I assume I would. Like I've not done this. This is my first time. Just give me a mortar and pestle, please.
that would require either an alchemist kit or an herbalism kit.
Oh.
Did you leave your mortar and pestle back at the mansion?
I assume he would have whatever he needs to make the mushroom juice that he drinks.
Yeah, just give me the damn mortar and pestle.
If not, you can always just there are rocks here. Just get a rock.
Yeah,
Start
exactly.
crushing it up.
Yeah. If I don't have one, I guess I just walk around and try and find a place. Like I got a pot, so I'll just get some rocks and just bash the pot.
All right. So make me a survival check to see how well you do.
Okay. A 10.
Yeah, it's not going as well as you'd like.
Maybe that's how I wanted it.
It's really just smushing it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay. It's not really grinding anything, it's just smushing.
Oh,
It's also kind of wet, so
yeah, that's okay too. This is all what I want.
Right. He is trying to juice them.
Yeah.
Mortar and juicer.
Yeah. So I just continue juicing mushrooms.
okay. What's everyone else doing?
So when are we?
Oh my. What if the mushroom juice is Kip's essence? What if we need him to sacrifice the mushroom juice? We actually have to help him make the damn things.
Are you saying this?
No, we won't. We'll be fine. We have some.
None of you sneaky sneaks are going to be taking my mushroom juice.
I wouldn't need to take it from you. I already have it.
What? What'd you say?
I
You love my
said
recipe?
yes.
His recipe, which consists of scrape mushrooms off a wall that you find randomly.
Mush them all together.
Any mushroom will do.
The nastier, the better.
You learned quick.
Kip's like, how did you learn my recipe?
Weren't we going to assemble the spear first and then enchant to do the ritual? Or are we going to do the ritual again when we have the spear assembled?
I didn't assume we would need the ritual for the spear as much as for the BS weapons.
Right. Perhaps with the new and improved weapons, we might be able to maybe detach the thing from you, whatever it is.
It is the darkness that comes for us all.
Yes, indeed. Believe it is trying to drag us all down.
It's working.
And I, for one, shall not have it.
You'll have it regard whether or not you want. Try and sever it.
Yes, yes, yes. Let us perform this ritual. How does it do?
Well, first, Kip's got to put in his essence.
I'll pull out the flask from an inner pocket.
Hey,
Keep it high.
hey!
He may not want us to watch, though.
I know of a way to get Kip's essence, and I pull out a dagger.
What are you doing? What are you all doing? Brought me down into this hole to take my essence or my seed or whatever it is.
No, just a portion of your soul.
No. Well, which part?
This juice does have some rather groovy effects. It might actually be the essence we are looking for.
No, I'm sure it is part of his soul we need. If there is any left, preferably the uncorrupted portion.
We could hedge our bets with all three.
There ain't no corruption.
I take a knife and begin to sort of slice at the bottom end of my beard to get some hair off of it.
I thought you were weird, Sonny. What are these guys doing?
We're collecting the ingredients we need for the ritual that will enchant the BS weapon. So we need Martha's blood, Colmar's skin, my hair, Petrie's possessions. I don't know what to do about Charles's sacrifice, but that seems to be part of it. And we need the essence of you.
None of us will watch.
And I figure we should at least, if we have different theories on what that essence might be, try them all. Just throw it all in.
Before I contribute my blood, perhaps we should try to cut this thing off. I would hate for my blood to be tainted and then spoil the bunch.
Kip, can we have one of the BS daggers that are doubtlessly in your saddlebag?
And I just pop my head in, I look around, and I raise like a short sword above my head, like, nope, that's not it. And eventually I'll get to a dagger.
Any short blade probably will do, but
One with as much finesse as we can gather from it. Who should do the honors?
well, I suppose I can. So I will go over and make sure that I have enough light from the stone. Try to figure out how it's attached, like where exactly is the point of attachment? Is it like on his palm?
No, it's one of his, like two of his fingers, because because Martha, when you initially saw it, you reached out to touch it, right?
Yeah,
You didn't grasp it. You went to touch it.
exactly.
So then it would be connected probably to his index and middle finger.
Okay, so I'm going to lay the blade flat as I can and try, almost as if it were like glue or something viscous, trying to slide the blade along to try to get it under as much of it as I can without digging into the skin.
So as you bring the blade near this viscous material, it seems to move and try to get away from the blade. It's responding to the biesh.
And I'm just going to try to slide the blade under where it is.
Hold on. If it's moving, we might have to be
That's
careful
true.
about this.
That's true. Is it
Skip
moving?
Sorry, what?
I concur with what he was saying. Kip, give us another dagger, or one of the short sword you found.
Yep.
We don't want to just move it on his hand further.
Yeah, we want to go at the same time on both sides.
And while this is going on, he's gonna cast True Strike on Bob. I hope you strike a true.
Yeah, I hit this short sword over.
Even though it doesn't matter.
So I'm going to actually take the 2 blades on both sides of his hand and slide them in to try to pinch it off and lift it up and off.
Okay. As you're doing that, you see this viscous material thin and get thinner and thinner and stretch out as if it's trying to pull itself away from the blades. But since they're coming in at both sides, you almost hear a little screech from this material as you finally cut away. And then once you do so, it violently reacts and goes pulls itself back into the handle or the edge of the Olean's branch where it's from, where it came from. You'll also notice that the splotch is slightly bigger than it was yesterday. And there's still a little spot of it on Marthau's index finger, but you would actually need to
Remove his finger.
remove his finger or a good chunk of his skin in order to get that off.
You got 9 more digits.
I would leave that up to you, Marthau.
Well,
how many of your spells require all your fingers on a hand? Let's get Mike to go through the somatic components one by one and figure it out.
not enough.
He's got subtle spells, so whatever.
I mean, does somatic require all 10 fingers?
No.
It's not clear.
10% chance of failure. If it was a thumb, it'd be 20.
So I don't know. Me and the hot mama could probably burn it off.
What's a hot mama?
Oh, you haven't heard?
No.
Kip, be quiet. The adults are talking.
Well, you're lost. You're gonna lose a finger.
Wow. How could you burn it off?
Well, the hot mama blesses me, and then I'll bless you.
That sounds like a threat.
I'm going to lose the finger.
Fine.
Perhaps just at the knuckle.
Yes, at the knuckle. And I'll you still have True Strike on. So make it quick.
Perhaps just make an incision. We can clean that up afterwards easily enough. Plus, it'll provide the blood we need.
So, yeah, if I don't have to take the finger, if I think we can get it out without taking off the whole finger, we could try for that first.
Okay.
Like I said, the hot.
Although someone a bit stronger than me might want to do this in case it requires a degree of force. Someone with medical knowledge would be even better, so that he doesn't lose more than he needs to.
That would be Sonny. He's a doctor.
Ignoring Kip, does anyone here have medical knowledge?
I am the medical knowledge. However, I suppose I could amputate part of my own finger if I need to.
Well, just tell me where to cut and I'll do it.
All right.
Reminds me of the fucking way back in the beginning, whenever I first joined, the field surgery we had to perform on fucking Elmorn or something.
Oh yeah.
Going to enlarge and reduce and fucking.
You see the dark spot. Well, if you make two incisions, one on each side, and then one on the side, you should be able to pull the skin back. And it should be deep enough to have a flap. Now I'm just going to grab my rope here and bite down while you do this. So I'll bite down on the rope because I don't think I have any spells to like numb the pain.
So
do you have any kind of creative, because that's not really a spell, numbing pain, but
yeah, I know.
So if you want to find a creative way of using one of the spells that you have, that's an option.
I figured I would probably use some of my conduit to like heal it up as it as it gets cut open, and then we take out what needs to be taken out, and heal it back over again.
Okay. All right. I'm just taking over here. You ain't cutting no fingers off. I got this. And I just walk over. And I'm
someone
like,
hold him back.
Someone just give him a mouthful of this. He won't remember anything. And I like hand over like the pot of mushroom juice. And I'm like, just take a swig.
It's not so much a swig, though, is it? It's more let it slide into your mouth.
Having partaken,
And
I
take a
do
bite.
not believe it has any such qualities.
Oh, this one does. Don't worry.
All right, and he'll take it from take it, and then down it.
Jesus.
A mouthful.
Oh no.
Jesus.
Oh no. Why did you do that?
All you see is little gnome hands go up like, no! Like swatting, but far too short to get anywhere near his mouth.
You don't have to worry about them voices. You don't have to worry about them at all. That's just the brain badger. Now, forget about that. The hot mama's coming, and she's going to bless you. And
Kip.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you want?
Quiet.
So, first of all, make the minute that this stuff touches your mouth, Martha, it is absolutely revolting. So
I thought we got the good mushrooms.
So if you want to try to swallow this, you need to give me a wisdom saving throw to force yourself to take it down, despite your body's natural reaction to just spit it out.
I would have thought if you made a wisdom saving throw, you wouldn't have drank it.
That's an 8.
All right, you spit it out immediately, and you begin like vomiting pretty badly.
I vomit in Kip's direction.
You're just meant to swallow it, damn it.
And then on top of that, you feel a strange tingling in your mouth. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
I'm good at those. 17.
Okay. So you're you don't get the full effects, but your tongue is kind of like swollen a bit, making it very difficult for you to talk.
So it is very much like when we were in Drome and you had a chance that all your spells were going to fail because you couldn't feel your tongue.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. That's just the normal side effects. But you won't feel anything, I swear. And now just put him down. Someone put him on the ground.
So I just glare at Kip.
By the way, Kip, do you try to salvage the mushrooms that are remaining?
Yeah, well, I don't think he drank all of it, right?
Well, he got a bit in his mouth and then immediate vomit reaction. So there's still some in the pot, but there's also some that have been spit out and vomited up.
Yeah, these are
and
still
covered
good.
in vomit.
I'm like, yeah, these are still good, and I just throw them back in the pot. But anyways, that's not important. We gotta get this thing off you.
So yeah, I am gonna pin his hand down on a rock or the ground, if nothing else, and say, "We should just get this over with."
And so
shove the coil of the rope in his mouth so he can bite down on something, and then start making the incisions, the 2 incisions.
I'll open the conduit between us as well.
All right, so you need to touch him physically in order to do that.
Yeah, so I'll put a hand on it. I'll stand behind and put my hand on his shoulder.
All right. If you spend 10 points, it'll be able to numb the pain. You won't feel it so strongly.
10 points, Jesus! I only have 36. All right.
Only what?
Yeah. All
Not
right.
like we're getting another long rest, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I can drain it from enemies, but it's risky. While I have the conduit, I'm curious here. I kind of want to do the gain insight into his reasoning, emotional state, and something that looms large in his mind.
So, Martha, what would Omerta see?
He would see Charles' final moments and what happened. He would also see a vision of the xenomorphs attacking the World Tree, and the barriers beginning to break down.
Okay.
So, assuming we do this like with his hand flat on the ground, I would position the short sword so that the blade was across his hand, like just above where I need to cut. So that way, if it tries to leap that way, it at least is going to have to go under the BS short sword blade, and then I'll start cutting around where it is.
All right, give me a medicine check.
I'm going to use an action point. It wasn't super low, but 16.
All right.
It would have had an 11.
16 plus an action point. You're able to make the incisions. You do see that the darkness has gotten in pretty deep, but it's not gone so far that you need to cut his finger off, but you're not able to really dig it out without completely just chopping off the tip of his finger.
Then I would just go for it and cut off the tip of his finger.
Okay.
No sense putting him through this again. I'm sorry, but your fantasy cancer has metastasized.
So Martha, how do you react to this sudden pain? Oh, well, it is dulled because of what Omerta is doing. So you do feel it. You do feel the blade cutting into your finger. You know that there's the tip of your finger is now gone, and it's this strange feeling. It's almost like just a really deep scratch. Almost, it almost doesn't even feel like there's that big of a deal. There's a slight burning sensation in there, but that's kind of been pushed back out of your mind thanks to the effects of Omerta's infernal conduit.
Exactly.
And then with that 10 points, Omerta, you can also, without spending anything more, but as a part of the effect, you can cause the finger to heal over so that at least its skin over it, it's still a wound, but it's a wound that has at least a protective layer of skin so that there's no chance of infection.
Alrighty, cool. You basically got like frostbite and lost the fingertip.
Sorry, son, but it had gone deeper than just excising a little bit of flesh. And I will reach into my my haversack and pull out a bottle of Goodberry wine. I think Ivar carried this through the Mornland, so I'm not sure if it's still good, but
I grab it and I just like down it. After the awful experience I had with that mushroom juice.
Down in one, down in one, down in one. I miss rugby. All right. So this piece of corruption has been cut out of you. What do you do with the piece of flesh that was cut off, if anything?
Now's the time for fire.
Oh, but before we weren't allowed fire, were we?
well, hopefully magical fire that doesn't cause so much smoke.
We are now going to be leaving very shortly. So, a little bit of fire, clear this. Let us perform this ritual and get the hell out of this. Now,
I concur.
boring place.
Does anybody have magical fire? Like the kind that doesn't cause smoke? Is that like a like never-ending fire or eternal fire?
Don't you have like firebolt or something?
I do. I also have create bonfire, but it's going to cause smoke.
Well, the only smoke would be this little bit of flesh burning.
Yeah.
So firebolt should do.
Yeah, if it just lasts for 6 seconds, it's not going to cause that much smoke.
So, yeah, I'll just do firebolt then on, or I'll just do create. What am I firebolting?
The bit of flesh, the tip of your finger,
Why?
because the corruption's still there in it.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant for like creating. I thought I was following a different track. I thought we were like putting everything in together to like do the ritual.
I think we have to do that too, but I was just thinking about the tip of your finger.
Yeah, so I'll firebolt it.
Okay. So it immediately chars into ash, and the force of the firebolt also causes it to disperse the ashes.
I'll look real close, see if there's any like black spot on the ground now.
Give me investigation.
Oh, I rolled a 19. That is 21.
As far as you can tell, it's gone, and so is Tony.
The seal was broken.
But I'd suggest we at least try the ritual here. It'd be easier here than it will be in the forest, surrounded by the corrupt.
Yeah. Let's try it. Okay. Are you ready to surrender your essence?
I don't even know what it is.
We can help you find out.
Hashtag Pornhub.
Backdoor last night.
Now, you were talking about some corruption or something?
Yes, the spot of corruption that's clearly on the spear and was in his finger.
We should stab it with one of our weapons to see if it will react. And see if we could drive it out of the spear itself.
We could try that. I think that's sensible. I don't think the DM will allow us to chase it out of the spear entirely, though.
I have some action points.
So you guys want to worry about Olean's branch before you start with the ritual?
Might as well see what happens.
Yeah,
I'm
Martha
gonna-
would be curious given what just occurred, like if that were possible.
All right. So what are you guys doing exactly?
So first, like, lay the spear out on the ground. See if sliding the blade like along the spear gets the spot to move, or if it's just not reacting to it.
So it does seem to move in response to the blade, but not in the same way that it did when it was the viscous material outside of the branch. Because what it looks like on the branch are like this splotch of like a black spider work of veins almost. And kind of what happens when you bring the blade near is that this spider work just kind of moves out of the way. Or even just, not even moves, but seems to just kind of almost vanish in the spot closest to the blade. But then when you pull the blade back, it returns.
So I think it's just sort of burrowing its way deeper in order to avoid the blade. Short of chopping a section out of the wood, I don't know that we're going to be able to get rid of the corruption.
Even then, it probably will travel into the other parts, since it seems to be able to burrow. Well, it was worth a try.
So we should just attempt the ritual on the Biesh weapons.
Yes.
See what happens.
So, I guess throw all of our weapons, all the weapons, like in the middle, like in a pile?
We sort of discussed, we know what the ritual is. It was still a little bit vague. It involves burning all of those ingredients. I assume it involves like putting the weapons in the fire as well.
So there is, I think that you guys captured the ritual on a parchment because Tacitus originally, through the use of his magic, carved the exact ritual, including any words that needed to be spoken while it was done and everything, carved it into the stone on the ground next to his statue. So I assumed that somebody, if none of you, at least Charles, would have scribed it on a piece of parchment, so that should the ritual need to be done outside of the manor, that it could be completed.
Yeah, that was done. I do remember that. I'm trying to see if I can find it in my emails.
I don't recall ever actually seeing the ritual spelled out at length. I do remember we discussed how we would know what the parts of the ritual were. I don't recall whether or not it was Charles who had the details. That would be unfortunate. If we have to go back.
No, it would have. Charles would not have wanted to keep that. He wouldn't have wanted that responsibility. So he probably would have given it to Martha. But in terms of, the exact nature of the ritual, it's mostly just kind of visually how you guys want it to look like. The way that I imagine it is that you have the ingredients that were listed burning in some kind of pot or brazier, and and that would be.
I assume Colmar's wearing a bra, if only to protect her dress from those pointy nipples.
Yes, like daggers.
Razor sharp.
And
one day.
And then the brazier would be like in the center of like some kind of glyph design, and that the words that need to be read from the scroll would be read from somebody or all of you. It doesn't really specify who, if any specific person needs to read the words, but that they need to be read while the ingredients are in the brazier. And then the words should start the conflagration that causes all of it to be combined.
Well, then we should all read the words. Can't help to have more than one person read the words.
So, do we have the words?
Yeah, it's on a piece of parchment that I'm pretty sure you have.
Oh, I mean, but do we have a copy? Because I imagine we're all going to say them in unison.
Oh wow!
Do you guys have paper to make copies?
I'm sure I do. I have a forger kit.
Yeah, so you would be able to.
We could always just look over each other's shoulder too.
Stop jostling the paper.
I call Big Spoon.
So yeah, you wouldn't even need to make a check for that, Bob, since you're not trying to make a perfect forgery. You're just kind of copying everything down. So you'd be able to do that. Do you guys mind if we take a 5-minute break?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's fine.
Didn't make it very far in this session either.
No. End of summer might not be here.
Just keep drawing it out. We'll never move more than like 60 feet a session.
Pretty much. It was like that month-long campaign we were supposed to have.
This is, it's kind of like a palate cleanser episode after the death of Charles.
Yeah.
Just like after Zalshax's lair, we had like a whole adventure where we never really left the mansion.
Was it the furry friends?
No, there was, I forget what we did exactly, because it was the episode where I likened it to like watching Seinfeld, where like nothing really happens. We just kind of sit around our apartment. Like the furry friends one, that one was sort of more planned. Like something happened in that one.
Yeah.
But as a result, I no longer remember what it was exactly we did. It may have been the one right before the furry friends one.
Yeah, it's
and I remember there was a whole episode where like not everybody was there, but like Ivar was high the whole time.
Yeah, Martha was not present, or at least I wasn't present for that episode. Because I remember
a lot of shenanigans of Ivar annoying the hell out of Charles.
Yeah,
sliding up and down the banisters naked.
No wonder.
Cats everywhere.
No wonder he went insane.
We had a couple of those episodes.
All right, everyone back?
Yep.
Mentally or physically?
Whichever one works.
Define work.
No. All right, so you guys are working on. Bob has created some copies of the ritual so that everybody can say the words. Martha, would you be willing to use some of that chalk that you have in order to create the design of the runes and everything?
I could do that, but if I drawing simple symbols, what it like has magical effects depending on which color chalk I'm using.
Right. So the specific things that you're drawing wouldn't have the same magical effects. That is a good point, though, that the magic of the chalk could potentially combine with the magic that you're using. But does anybody else have any other way of creating these designs in the floor?
Well, I have, I don't know all what's in these different kits, but I do have a disguise kit. So there has to be like makeup in the disguise kit. There has to be something I could draw shapes with.
Yes, you use some of that lipstick.
Pouch of cosmetics, hair dye, and small props.
That's true. I do have a lot of hair dye. But it is also magical hair dye, so same magical problem. And one of them's invisible, so I can
What I
probably
mean
use
is
that one.
disguise kit comes with hair dye.
I'm sure the disguise kit comes with hair dye, but I'm sure it comes with other kinds of makeup as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that you could get all of it done using what's in your disguise kit, but you probably could get a portion of it done.
I can pitch in my disguise kit.
Yeah, it's cosmetics, hair dye, and small props to let you create disguises. And then my forgery kit has inks and pens, sealing wax, gold and silver leaf, and other supplies necessary to make convincing forgeries. So we'll just make the seal in like gold leaf, and we'll take like a day to make it all fancy.
Quick question. I think I dropped out before I learned of anything. The spear, the shaft for the spear. Where's that at?
I assume
just on the
Martha's still
floor somewhere.
carrying it. Yeah, we put it on the floor so that we could see what happens if we tried to chase the corruption out of it.
Uh-huh.
And then I assume Martha took it back.
Yeah, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I don't want to touch it. Not yet. I'll wrap it up and just have it on my person. Unscryable.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
That's fine.
Just in case he's using some sort of divination to figure out where this thing is. Perhaps I can help disguise that.
Yeah, well, at least it's not with that little quarterling that's sneaky. I'm looking at you, Bob.
I'm a gnome.
No, you're a quarterling.
I'm taller than you.
I believe he's a couple of inches taller, yes.
No. It's not about the height. It's about
It's how
what
you use it.
Well, anyway. I mean, maybe we can use some hammer and pitons, or pitons, as I've learned is their actual pronunciation.
Oh.
To etch in these markings into the ground.
Like I said, I have ink and pens.
It's going to use up all of your ink and pens. Or, I mean, not your pens, but,
Yeah.
dull them.
I can,
It's a lot of ink. It sounds like it's a lot of ink.
It's half makeup, half hair dye, half ink and pens.
Well, if you got other hammers, we can all... I've got 10 pitons.
I mean, I'm happy to do makeshift stonework if that's what we want to do. I, however, am not a mason or stone cutter. I fear how precise we need to be. I'm very good with the ink and pens, though.
Touche. Proceed.
Well, this would have been a lot easier if I knew that we were making some sort of circle. I could make them magic, but not right now.
So I'm going to proceed to start drawing using my forgery kit.
Okay. Give me a
Whiplash check.
give me an intelligence check with proficiency.
That is 16.
Okay. Using the materials that you have, you're able to use them pretty sparingly where you need to and efficiently. But even with the 2 disguise kits and the ink that you have, you only are able to get 3/4 of it done.
You just got to make it difficult, don't you?
I mean, there's not a lot of makeup, and when you're trying to get this stuff on stone, between the amount of makeup and hair dye and ink that I imagine would be carried in these typical kits, it's not a good medium to put to use to stone. So
Let's see what's in the cartographer's kit. 'Cause I have that too.
Perhaps it's. Could an Arcana check be made to determine the bleed over from the chalks and stuff?
Yeah.
So it doesn't actually say what's in a cartographer's kit in the PHP. So who knows? But it's map making. There's got to be more ink.
Oh, I'm sure.
I got a 17.
Okay. So, which chalks do you have, Martha?
I have the white alabaster, the yellow alabaster. I rather just the yellow, bright yellow, and the cloud gray.
Okay. Now, Omerta, did you ask Martha to examine the chalks?
Yeah, I'd asked him. I would ask him what they do.
So I would say that the white one, each of the chalks activate different spells, depending on the shape drawn. The white one, squares can revive someone who's down. Circles can grant a bonus. Triangles can
That sounds.
protect against the undead.
Those sound nice. Like
A cross erases all information from a single sheet of paper.
Okay.
So, if we want to draw a symbol or a series of symbols that may and perhaps invoke all of these things, then it just fiddles. It just adds an element of surprise to the magic, I suppose.
So according to one website, it should include ink and charcoal markers to mark on maps with.
You could probably, if you use up all the materials in your cartographer's kit, you could probably get the rest of it done.
Thought we were going to need to squeeze some essence out of out of Kip. You do that for the rest.
Oh God! Just like the old timey spy messages, the original invisible ink.
Sure, we still need some blood from Marthal. We can always. I've got quills.
So you guys, do you have you have that pot, Kip, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other possible containers that would be usable?
Nope.
I also have an arms box.
I have whatever box all my empty kit stuff came in. The disguise kit, the cartographer's kit, and the forger's kit probably had boxes.
So you could use the boxes, but if you wanted to use the pot, you'd have to clean it first.
I think the pot would probably be neater. You take it over to the water and get it cleaned.
Well,
That's fair enough. The water, however, is quite a ways down. Could lower the pot, I suppose, fill it up, dump it out to clean it.
Bob is suddenly becoming lazy.
Just seems easier than running down the side of the wall, filling the pot, running back up, dumping it out, running back down.
I imagine a Naruto style wall running while you're skimming the surface of the water with the pot and then running back up.
Well, if you can Naruto run fast enough to dodge bullets, you can definitely run fast enough to run up a wall. So
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Rip.
Yeah.
You guys have seen like those Area 51 memes, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Good.
Yeah, we live here. Yeah.
Okay.
they're hard to avoid.
My reference wasn't lost. Good.
So I'll take the pot and Naruto run down.
All right. So you get pretty clean. And then all that's left is to gather the ingredients and say the words.
I hope Charles wrote them down correctly.
I'm sure he did. So I pull out the Biesh dagger of mine, and then like cut my hand, and then like.
Is it Biesk or Biesk? We should probably get that right as we start the ritual.
I thought it was more like Biosh.
I like Biesh, but it doesn't really matter.
I just like that we're starting a ritual and we might not know how to pronounce that word.
Fair.
Here we go again. Klaatu. Verada.
No.
There then. I said it. All right.
All right. So Marthau has contributed his blood.
Next is Skin. Hopefully Colmar's still in. Haven't heard from him in a while. Colmar's just gone. He's left.
Komar, we just need some of your skin now. No big deal.
All right. So Omar reaches into his little pack and pulls out like a couple folded pieces that almost look like parchment, but they're actually skin from his former body. He puts them in there.
And Bob reaches into the folds of his robes and pulls out the beard hair he had cut earlier, sprinkles it into the fire.
We have Petrie's stuff, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, we got his diary or
Treasure
Diary and a little tiny miniature bust of him. I forget who was carrying it, though. I don't think it was me, since I wrote down that I have Elmore's hair. I feel like I would have written that down.
Somebody was using
Colmar
mage hand to
grabbed
pull it
yeah,
out.
I think I got it. So I tear out some of the pages and put it in the fire.
Is Australia trying to kill
Oh, it's
you?
not
down there,
fire
man?
yet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
think
put it down.
something.
Australia's striking.
Yeah, the wasps are coming out.
Into your room, though?
Yeah, I know. I don't know
They're
how.
not-
They're just spawning in here. Like,
Careful, they're gonna chew through the line.
Yeah, that's not spawning. They have a hive somewhere under your bed, more than likely.
oh,
You're sleeping on a hive of hornets.
Probably in your other monitor. That's why it's not working.
oh shit!
Oh yeah.
You gotta let the snakes out of your computer so they can feed.
Wake up! Eat the wasp, damn it!
All right. So Marthau has spilled some blood into the pot. Colmar has donated several sheets of parchment that were from the flesh of his original body. Bob has placed his hair inside. Colmar has taken a few sheets from Petrie's diary and put it into the pot.
The sacrifice. How do we put that into the fire exactly?
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna take the vial that I had the water in, dump that out, go over and to Martha and say, "Think of Charles. Think of Charles." And then I'm gonna like try to collect a tear. The man died in agony.
I am sure that his sacrifice is enough without having to shed a tear.
You don't have any of his ointment or whatever you could throw in there?
His broken ball ointment.
Yeah. Petrie takes out a tube of lube.
I don't think I have anything that would be considered special.
His massaging glove?
All right.
Well, actually, I do have, and he's like, I do have, I guess I have one of his hairs.
Did it get stuck in your teeth, or?
Oh.
It just came out. I couldn't help it.
No, it got stuck on my teeth. Yeah.
What the
It's a long story, but I was brushing my teeth. And there was hair on my toothbrush.
Are you sure that was his and not like one of the more prank-oriented members of your company? Just move, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you have hornets or wasps in there, I agree. Maybe a different room. Take your laptop.
I can't. I'm running on my desktop. Hang on. I can see it. Have I got bug spray? Yeah, I do.
You better. You live in
How
Australia.
how do you live in Australia and have any possibility of not having bug spray?
Do you like sleep with it next to your bed at night?
I actually do.
Like-
legit. Because if spiders come in, like, you want to make sure you got bug spray near you.
That's like the equivalent of Americans sleeping with the guns under their pillows.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
Well, if I had a gun,
Australia,
I'd use it.
in Australia, nature tries to kill you. In America,
Oh,
people try and kill you.
Brendan's got like a bird cage in case of emergency. It just releases a magpie.
okay.
It's okay though. The snakes will kill the magpies.
Okay, so Marthau has produced a hair of an unknown origin, supposed to be from Charles.
All right, and then I'll pull out the flask again from an inner pocket. It's like, this has to be it, right?
That's my sincere hope.
Wait, what's in the flask?
I stole
Mushroom
his
juice.
flask.
Yeah, ages ago.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Kip, how do you respond to seeing your flask in
Sorry.
Omerta's possession?
Yeah, I saw her before, and I was getting angry.
Oh,
So
Then
now,
maybe just to be safe, we should let Komar take a piece of his soul.
Yes, can you do that with efficiency? Can I watch?
Of course.
Yeah, can you take the part out, which makes me think of badges all the time?
badgers?
Yeah.
Badgers or badges?
Well,
Because I did
they're
not
either
catch.
badges or weasels, either one. They're in my brain.
Sorry, did you say weasels or wheels? Because I did not catch. There was noise going on, and I did not catch all of the syllables.
There's badges and there's weasels, either one.
You're certainly one of those things, but you have a soul extraction method, yes?
Mm-hmm. I produce a dagger.
I watch with keen interest.
All right, well, are you taking Sonny's or mine?
Yours.
So what do I do?
Just hold still for a bit.
And I look over at I look over at my pot and I'm like, God damn, no mushroom juice. All right.
Okay. So I go and make a quick cut, like under your ear, and it starts to bleed. And I just tell you to just let it bleed. And I walk over away from the whole ceremony, but not too far away, and sit on the ground and begin an incantation, and the blood begins to lift off from your body and move through the air, and then begins to spin around, and you see like images of faces and badgers and weasels, maybe a foe or two that you've killed, and then I collect it in a small vial. Well, no,
Some innocent women and children that he's killed.
Tacitus has got Omerta's got a vial, right? So I move it and it goes into the vial.
Yeah. Well, finally, those brain weasels are out of my head.
And it seems to heal itself up, and you don't feel like it's basically painless
Okay.
for now.
I paid keen attention and hoped to remember said incantation. But I'll tip it out into the cauldron thing, whatever it is.
Teapot.
All right. So you've placed what you believe to be Kip's essence.
You should also pour the mushroom juice in there.
Yeah, I put some in there too. Yeah.
Should have been enough in that blood.
It's going to be the mushroom juice that messes this up.
All right. And now what do you guys do?
Whatever Charles's message says to do. there's more incantation, or
So you guys begin chanting the incantation.
Mhm.
Yeah. Then we light it on fire.
Are we supposed
Circle,
to put,
circle around this thing.
Well, according to the ritual, if everything is done properly, the brazier will combust.
and then do we put the weapons in then, or are they supposed to be there at first?
It doesn't mention that the weapons have to be anywhere near in proximity.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this just activates all Bayeshk weapons in the world. Got it.
All right, so you guys complete the incantation, and you wait expectantly, and nothing happens.
Did anyone happen to have any of Almorn's stuff?
I have his hair.
Did we throw it in?
Nope.
Let's throw it in for good measure.
I reach into my pack and pull out a clump of hair. It's tied with a nice little ribbon, so at least it's all together. It appears to be like close to a full head of hair, as it's all the hair that fell in the Mournlands. That Ivar reasons thought it was important to keep all that. And I throw the clump in. And then
I have to repeat the incantation.
Chant again.
All right, so you guys.
Perhaps we link hands around the circle.
Do the instructions say to do so?
Elephant walk around the circle.
Oh God.
Form a Congo line.
Well, however you guys formation yourselves, you complete the chant, and once again, there's no reaction.
So I put Petrie's idol? Did he have an idol or something?
He had a bust, a little.
Yeah, I put that in there, and I take the rest of the journal and drop it in there too.
Put as much stuff in there as we can. You gotta get it right eventually.
Everybody empty your pockets. We'll dance naked around a pile of everything we own.
So, all right, one more time. Third time's the charm.
Yep.
So we do the ritual, and we sing the song.
And once again, anticlimactic.
I frustratingly look at Sunny. I'm like, well, we had a good run.
Wait a minute. I picture Kid being like, well, prepare for a beat, because this is clearly your fault.
See, whereas I was thinking, well, guess I gotta fuck my bear until the essence comes out.
Part of the ritual.
So Omerta is going to take a small necklace off from around his neck. It's got maybe we are missing the treasured possession without an owner. Maybe, I don't know. This particular thing, I have no idea where I acquired it. It just happens to be written on my sheet. It's a 1 ounce block of unknown material. I'll throw it in the pot.
Well,
And repeat.
the one that's
And
made of material was gunpowder and it's exploded.
Well, at least it
But not
would
yet.
put us out of our misery.
no. So that material without an owner does not seem to have done it.
Well, I'm going to
Hey,
take that
what else?
back then.
We don't necessarily know that we're missing one thing. So maybe that has to be in there and something else.
Well, let's try out a hand at other things first then.
Well, you've had a good run, Sonny. It's about time you died. And Sonny just starts running away.
Perhaps it's the sacrifice. I don't know.
I don't think that's necessary, Kip.
But maybe that cruelty is his essence.
I mean,
Have you contributed so maybe the essence isn't your soul?
Yeah, that's why I thought it was that stinking bear. And yeah, Sonny's just like bolted into the darkness.
Oh
were
god. Oh
were
god. What
Sonny,
happens in the darkness?
were Sonny to die, how would you feel?
Well, it'd be pretty good.
Didn't sound like a sacrifice.
Yes, but one of them is the essence of a disgraced conqueror, and he is best known for being a war criminal who slaughtered the innocent. So his essence might well be the slaughter of an innocent creature.
You hear that, Sonny?
I feel like what Colmar did was certainly a acquisition of essence. Surely that has been taken care of.
That might not be the one. I'm certainly willing to allow Sonny to live until we've exhausted all other possibilities, but it seems like we've got to get this done.
Yes. It is growing. The hour is growing late. It's very dark in these caverns.
It is still the morning, I believe.
Well, not for all of us.
Omer's just going to go off to the side and sit for a little bit to try and contemplate. Or at least that's what it's going to look like to others. Yeah, I wish I had 5th level spells. That'd be super handy right now.
Yeah,
What, so you can
where's
ask
Tacitus?
your deity or something?
Yeah, like then I could have prepared contact other plane.
Can anyone contact Tacitus? Since he probably knows.
Do we have anything of Tacitus's?
I do not.
Perhaps he is the sacrifice. So Omerta's really gonna go off and sort of meditate, I guess, and try and see if maybe he can get he's gonna try and reach out to his patron, if you will, and see if he can get insight as to what might be needed here.
And while he's doing that, Martha's like, Kip, spit in the brazier.
I'm like, I can do you one better. and I just like shoot a snot rocket just over, and it pops in.
Oh my god.
And where is Sunny now?
In the cave somewhere. I don't know.
Well, if you hear a roar and a splash, that's bad.
Omerta, give me a charisma check.
Okay. Just straight charisma.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good roll, but I'm gonna go ahead and use an action point just to see if I get something a little better.
Okay.
Currently, I have a 20 cumulative, but let's see if I can get something a little better. Nope, any better. That was a 10 instead. So yeah, I like the 20.
Okay. So describe to me the manner in which you're trying to reach out and what you might be saying. And if you don't want to share it out loud, send me an email.
I imagine I pull out my sword, my blade of secrets, and sort of I imagine I sort of sit Indian style and with the rapier, and I like put the point against my palm and poke myself with it a little bit, and then sort of like hold it there and allow the whispers to sort of take over.
Okay. Sending you an email.
Alrighty.
I hope the email is not nothing happens. You hear nothing.
You've gone insane. Oh, okay, cool.
You
Well,
take.
If I go insane, that's fine. We have the blood of someone touched by madness. So maybe that's me all along. I don't know. Who knows? We got Martha in here twice.
Send. No, that's a joke.
Oh, your god's funny.
In hindsight, I'm glad we didn't save Tacitus's statue.
Not a good sign. Not a good sign.
Chapter 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Concerning rituals.
Yeah. The first sentence is probably, you did not get a single ingredient correct.
All right, send.
We could all try to all put in hair and blood and skin and a treasured possession and some sort of sacrifice and our essence. I actually don't know if Colmar has essence.
Colmar as in his original corporeal form, or Colmar and his new.
Well, we haven't tried putting in any of Colmar's current skin.
One more thing, Tony.
Okay.
P.S.
P.S. Chapter 2.
Insight would be a little clarification, maybe. I don't know. Because I got nothing here.
We might not be able to do it in this little portal realm in May, wherever we're trying to. Maybe that's an issue.
Okay. Sent.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to help at all, but we'll see.
I mean, I get that. It's kind of implied in the word.
Yeah, but I mean, just so you know.
Well, that was fun. Let's go to the Eldeed Reaches.
Well, we did it then.
So yeah, Sunny just wanders off over to where. Oh, and Kip wanders off to where Sunny was, and you hear Sunny go. And Kip's coming back with Sunny in a headlock, and he's just like trying to drag him along.
So Omerta gets up. You see that his hand it looks like it's been pierced all the way through, and he actually looks at it for a moment and puts his hand into the pot. Perform the ritual.
All right.
Start up again.
So we'll chant.
This time, there's a huge conflagration, and Omerta, you feel just agony running up your arm as you pull it away, and there's just a stump where your hand used to be, and so up to your forearm is just charred, ashen bone protruding from the skin, and then all of a sudden the scrolls that you all have with the words fly from your hands.
Yeah, that's what we forgot.
Actually, it's sort of obvious if you think about it.
We were willingly going to do it earlier, just cut off Martha's finger, but Mike was like, "No, a little bit there. You don't have to."
That's just the taste.
No, I know what we got to do next year when we all meet up around Gen Con. We got to get tattoos saying "I survived Mike's body horror."
See, the thing is, I don't want to have to explain that to people. Oh, what does that mean? Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Only people who've been through it understand. You just never will.
Oh. So the scrolls fly away from your hands and come together in a swirling vortex, and then they kind of join, and new words seem to be in the flashes that you can see. New words seem to be forming upon the scroll, and some weird shapes begin emerging, and then once it's complete, floating before you over the cauldron, you see this. Oh, come on. Why is it gotta be dumb?
Seamus.
It's a
Open with...
Oh yeah, Seamus, the hero.
it's a computer. It literally won't do something unless you tell it to.
Yeah, I know, but I told it to do something, and it's being like, no, that's not good enough, so fuck you. Oh, god damn it, come on. Where... Okay, maybe this will work. All right, this thing. And it looks as if it's about to speak, and that's where the screen fades to black, and we'll pick up next time.
All right.
All right.
All it took was self-inflicted body horror.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, one thing that you guys do notice that is a change in all of your characters. Even though you're not level 20, each of you have access to one of your capstone abilities.
I don't know what the hell that is.
That's basically your level 20 ability. You can choose to have the one from the player's handbook, but I recommend choosing mine because they're all much more powerful.
You
Because
mean Wizard's signature spell isn't fucking OP already? Did you make it more OP?
I did.
Jeez.
Now it's not, because before it was just, oh, you can cast, you choose 2 third level spells and you can cast each one once without spending a spell slot. No, fuck that. You cast a 3rd level spell as if it's a fucking cantrip.
I thought that's what it was.
No. The 18th level ability is that you choose a 1st level and a 2nd level spell, and you can cast them at will. So for anybody that's multi-class, you can choose which class you want the capstone in, but you can't have both.
Is your Invincible Conqueror more OP than this one?
So with the Paladin, my version of the Paladin doesn't get a capstone based on their oath.
Okay.
Instead, what happens is my Paladin ability is Ultimate Smite. And so anytime you use a spell slot to do a smite, you roll a d6.
Mm-hmm.
And if you roll a 3 or higher, you don't expend the spell slot.
Okay. Okay, yeah. I just like, yeah, like that sounds good. Really good. But Invincible Conqueror is pretty good too, because I get resistance to all damages, which includes whiplash damage.
Nothing.
All-
It never
all-
includes whiplash damage.
All does seem all inclusive.
But not whiplash. Gotcha.
Yeah. That's the god damage. So
Well, like I said, you can choose if you want your original capstone or mine.
Yeah. I feel like if there's gonna be a lot of combat, I think I'm gonna stick with Invincible Conqueror. Yeah.
We're RP in the end.
Do remember that Invincible Conqueror only lasts for a minute,
I know. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
per
I was
long
like,
rest.
if I hold on to those action points, maybe I could convert them into Invincible Conqueror slots.
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes per action point or something.
Gotcha.
And then I think, just going off the top of my head, for a monk, the capstone, I want to say that if you start your turn with no Kai points, you
get
gain
3.
3.
usually if you roll initiative, I think, and normally.
Right, but his is if you start your turn with
Right.
0 high points, you get 3.
So you'll always have access to one of your abilities, like Flurry of Blows or whatever, and then on top of it can do at least 2 stunning strikes, I figure.
Right. Peerless Archer, though, is your arrows always sail true and deal maximum damage. And then once per round, you can just choose to have your attack automatically hit for maximum damage. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. And let's see. I can't remember what the capstone is for the warlock.
They can spend a minute or something like that to get their spell.
Yeah, that's the real one, but that's not mine.
Yeah.
Because I think that's dumb. That's not a capstone. Capstones should be broken, is my opinion. They should be broken. They should be broken in a way that's consistent, like where one is not better than any of the other classes, but they should be broken. By definition, they should break the game, in my opinion. So for mine, for the next minute, you can cast any spell from Pact Magic without needing or expending a spell slot.
Yeah, as a bonus action.
Yeah. So that's a full minute of casting endless 5th level spells. Or you'd be able to get the wizard signature spell, which turns 2 spells up to level 3 into cantrips effectively. For the bard,
the bard one is if you grant an inspiration die, everybody around gets inspiration or something like that.
Yeah.
Except for you.
And then you also have unlimited uses of bardic inspiration, so you never run out. So you can effectively be given everybody inspiration every turn. And then sorcerer, I want to say that I decreased the cost of metamagic by 2. Yeah, whenever you spend sorcery points to modify a spell or cantrip, you can reduce the total cost of the sorcery points by 2, so minimum 0. So 90% of your metamagic is done for free.
Lots of choices.
Yeah.
What do I got for the ill rigor?
Oh, I already have a choice of 2. There's the one that was originally made, and then you made yours, which was interesting. I'm actually not sure which one I want to take.
Unlimited uses of Baleful Interdiction, but still maximum number of seals you can place on a creature is equal to your Charisma modifier. Seals inflict an additional d6 damage, and when you're attacking them, you inflict an additional d6 damage if they have unspent seals. And a creature bearing your seals dies with unspent seals. You can use reaction to place those seals upon a new target you can see within 30 feet.
Yeah. But then there's also the Hellmage one built into my archetype, which is for a minute. No, wait, yeah, no, that's the adjusted one. Yeah, for a minute, while in this form, I could use a reaction to absorb spells that target only me. The spell has no effect on me, and I regain a spell slot equal to the level. I guess max 5. Unless you give me like a, I can absorb a 9th level spell and upcast something at 9th level.
I'm not gonna lie, that one's gonna be difficult for me to track because a lot of the so-called magic that I throw out is not necessarily statted up as a normal spell. So I'd have to try and figure out on the fly what level equivalent that would be.
Mm.
If that's the one you want, you can do it. I don't want more work on me to be the deciding factor for you, but just so you know, you might be told a spell level that you may not agree with based on the characteristics, since it's not necessarily defined spells.
Sure. Yeah. I'll probably do the interdiction one anyways, just because I use those a little more often. Yeah.
So these are the abilities you get before you even figure out what this ritual has done to the Biesh weapons.
Very nice.
Cool.
And we'll see what further sacrifices Narboil the Talking Scroll wants from us.
Oh, you know him? You saw that?
I was in it was in the title of the when you showed the image.
Oh.
All right. It's sleepy time.
Yeah, it's late.
All right.
So,
See you
Talk to you
guys.
later.
see ya.
All right.
Mike, I have to talk to you about